So today we're talking all about how to get you a flawless base. But that starts off with what you do to your skin underneath. If you've ever put on your makeup and you're like, something is just not right, and I'm here to just tell you some things that I like to do just to ensure that my base comes out flawless 99% of the time, almost 100% of the time. So the first thing I like to do is start off with a cleansed base. That means like my face is totally clean. And I also like to go in with a toner, and that toner is chosen specific to what my skin needs at that time. Then I always like to use this hyaluronic acid serum, and this is just going to add more moisture into your skin to prepare for your makeup application. Now, one thing I do see sometimes is like people will put the dropper right on their face. Try not to do that because we don't want to contaminate the dropper, and then even if you're the only one using it, you still don't want to contaminate your dropper. So I'm just going to rub that into my skin really well, and just take my time and rub that into my skin. And then I like to go in with a moisturizer. This is one of my favorites by Dermalogica. I like to go in with that, and I like to just moisturize my face. My face and my neck. And then, can't forget the eye cream. Right now I'm using the Clinique eye cream to put that on my ring fingers and go all around my eyes. Now, if I didn't have eye makeup on, I would put it up there as well. But my eyes have been prepped prior to. I learned this trick from a dermatologist. She said whatever you have left, put it on your lips, because that skin is just as delicate as the skin under your eyes. I'm gonna give that a moment. So I'm not, give that a moment for the products to like soak in and do their thing, and then I'm gonna go in with my primer. For today, I'm specifically focusing on oil control and smoothing out my base. So the first one that I'm gonna use is this one by One Size. Shake Well. It's their Oil Sucker Extreme Mattify Alkaline Primer. For best results, allow this product to dry for 3 minutes while remaining expressionless. Okay, so it's been about 3 minutes, and the primer has, dried down some. As you can see, it leaves a little bit of a white cast, but that's okay because when I put my foundation on, you won't see that. Then for any areas that I have any texture, I like using this Smashbox Pore Vanishing Photo Finish Primer. I think it really does a beautiful job in, just combating that, really smoothing out the skin. The next thing that I would suggest is, now we're ready for our foundation. Now, I know it's tempting and I've done it, but I kind of know how to work around it, but to just go shh. But if you use a mixing palette of some sort and you put just a tiny bit, well, that's like two pumps or 2 squirts of the foundation on, you will see just how much area you're able to cover just that amount. You're not going to have to use a ton of product. And I know it just seems like, oh, I need to add more. But start with a little bit, because you can always add more, but it's very hard to take it off or to blend it out. So let's start with a little bit. So I have a dense foundation brush. What I like about a dense foundation brush is that it's going to do the work for you. It's going to help blend. I had some foundation on my finger, but it's going to do the work for you. So just going to tap that much, and instead of just swiping it on, I'm going to pat. Do you see the amount of coverage that we were able to achieve just with that little dot? And I still have more foundation. So pat, pat. Obviously, if you use the foundation and say maybe you've used too much, there are ways to combat that without having to like take all your foundation off and you're like, okay, now I gotta start over again from scratch. You can use a beauty blender, and what a beauty blender or a makeup sponge, I should say makeup sponge, but you can use a makeup sponge, and what that is going to do is that's going to soak up any excess product. So if you go on and you're like and you put a lot of product on initially and then you're like, oh, I'm looking a little casket ready, I need to take some off, you can go in with a beauty sponge, and that's going to remove any foundation that is not blended out and that's just kind of just like sitting on the surface of your skin. I'm gonna go on with your concealer. So the trick, as you can see, you can still see some of that primer peeking through right here. The trick is not to put too much product on your nose, because that's one sure way to have your nose oily as well. So and again, this is still just the first little reach in of the concealer. I'm going to turn the brush this way. Excuse me, the applicator. I'm gonna kind of go up. And I'm really just dragging that product out. It looks like I'm moving around, like maybe putting more product, but I'm just dragging that product that's already there out. Put a little bit here. And I like to let my concealer sit for a few moments, and while it's sitting, I'm trying to get my makeup back. But while it's sitting, I'm not just like do. I'm doing other things with my makeup. So here is where I apply my bronzer. I am going to use a liquid bronzer today, but sometimes I just depending on what I'm doing, I might just use my powder bronzer and let that be that. And I just need a little bit. So while that's sitting, I'm gonna work on my bronzer. So still moving. And then here's where I would, add my liquid blush too. Sometimes I go in and do it before. Just again, depending on what I'm doing, where I'm going, why am I doing the makeup in the beginning. And start blending that out. I feel like I had a piece of hair. And that area that you could still see the primer peeking through, the concealer is going to cover that. because again, I didn't put a lot of foundation right up in this area. And we're gonna pat. We're not trying to swipe, but we're gonna pat. Liner. Just gonna pat that all in. And if I'm really trying to, you know, give a little baba boom, this is where I'll add in the next concealer. And just on the inner corner right here. Waiting for that, then I can go in with my powder bronzer. So this is going to help bring some color and some warmth so that you don't look monochromatic. You don't look like you're just all one shade and you have some dimension. Lightly tap that out. Then I like to go in with a clean powder puff, nothing on it, and blend it out. See the difference? See how this is nice and kind of more smooth versus this side. Now I'm going in with my translucent powder. And it's very rare that I do a lot of baking. I just set it and keep it moving. I'll blend out those edges. Tap like around the top. Now I'm going to go back in with my bronzer to just give some shape to my nose from where, you know, I put all that powder. And I like to use my airbrush finish by Charlotte Tilbury and go under the eyes as well. If I have any other eye makeup, like if I'm gonna, you know, do like something on my lower lash line, then this is the time when I would do that. Using my House Labs blush in the color Watermelon Bliss. Tapping it. Sometimes after you do your blush, you might need to go back in with a little bit of your bronzer. I will go in with my finishing powder. Now sometimes I use the Charlotte Tilbury powder in the shade 4, and then sometimes I use my Sephora Microsmooth. I think I'm gonna do the Sephora Microsmooth today. Those are my two kind of, I can say favorite. Oh, I guess you can say favorites. And I just tap and press in all the areas that weren't set with the powder where my foundation is. And then going over top to just kind of like marry everything together so it just doesn't look like products are sitting on top of anything. Like everything is a family. They're meshed together and they work well together and all that good stuff. Setting spray. Another mistake that I see sometimes is holding your setting spray too close, but you kind of want to hold it up. And let it gently fall on you. And then we're going to let that dry, and then I'll do my lips, and then I'll be back. I decided to add in this pop of blue just as an addition to my eye look, and that's what I love about this eye look, is because it's still kind of on the neutral side, neutral enough where I could add some color just to give the look a little bit of interest. So that's what I'm just doing here, adding some blue liner on my lower lash line. That is how you get your perfect base. Those are the tips that I wanted to share with you just so you can get a flawless base when you're preparing to do your makeup. Let me know if you have any questions. Please feel free to comment down below. Also, if you're new here, go ahead and subscribe. I would love to have you join the family. I upload on Tuesdays and Fridays at 12 p.m. So make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can be notified when my new videos go live. Also, if you haven't done so already, please go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. It really helps out the channel and it helps get my video and my channel out to more subscribers, more viewers, and all that stuff. So thank you for tuning in. I'll see you guys in my next video. Mwah! Bye!